Yo, what's up, everybody? It's J2L, keeping real FOREX KING. I'm out here with Akil Stokes from Tier 1 Trading. Um, so, right now, basically, I'm doing another interview. I've been doing these like monthly or weekly interviews, and each week I try to find new traders, whether on YouTube, Instagram, that have experience in Forex, that have knowledge to share for the community. So right now, I'll let Akil Stokes steal the show, and I'd like to start off by saying, can you like tell us about yourself for the others who don't know about you on YouTube or Instagram?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to give you the quickest version as possible. But I'm a forex trader. I started back in 2007 in the stock market. Eventually made my way to forex, and I am now a consistently profitable trader. I teach other traders. I have a podcast as well, and just you know this industry was something that changed my life. I got started right out of high school, or right out of college. Wish I got started out of high school, but right out of college, I got started mainly because I graduated really at the start of our previous recession. And, there wasn't much I can do out there job-wise. I was working 3 jobs. They weren't ideal jobs, but, they paid the bills. And I started to kind of dabble in different things. And I got into the stock market. I grew to enjoy it. I loved the game. I loved the process. It was intriguing to me. I was pretty good at it as well. And I started thinking about how can I turn this into really a full-time gig and make this the main money maker. Because I was working 12 hours a day. I was working in the school district with kids that had mental and behavioral health issues. I was working as a track coach as well while going to grad school. And I was a janitor at night. So I was going around to banks and preschools cleaning toilets, which wasn't the ideal situation, but it paid the bills. But I knew that, that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So after I found that I was pretty good in stocks, I learned about Forex. I kind of learned many of the same things you hear these days about how you can make a lot of money really, really quick with a smaller account size, and that sucked me in. That got me intrigued, and I went in really, really cocky. Thought I can do that. I thought I was better than I was, and learned the hard way that you can't have all those things from the market. You can't have financial freedom. You can't earn time freedom. You can make a good chunk of change, but it's not going to be as easy as what people say. The path is not typically what the internet will tell you. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of sacrifice. And it just took me a while to learn that. And now that I did, I try to give those lessons back to newer people that are joining the journey, and hopefully give them a path to success that they can follow, and they don't have to go through as many obstacles as I did.
I see you mentioned that you're a track coach. I ran track in like high school and college.
Nice.
Ran D1 track.
Okay.
Did you run like track before you became a track coach?
Yeah. I did every other sport growing up, man. So high school, I was football, basketball, baseball in high school. I actually went to college for football. Had a couple injuries, and basically it ended my career, and wanted to do something else, and tried out for the track team. Sent the coach an email, said, "Hey, this is my 40 time. Can I please get a chance?" And I got on the track team and did 3 years of college track. And I never planned on coaching track, but I was going to grad school, and I wasn't going to use my last year of eligibility just because my body was shot. And the head coach at the time said, "Hey, we can get you a grad assistantship. You can help pay for grad classes." And I said, "Hey, you know what? If it's going to help pay for classes, I'll give it a try." And I fell in love with it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Nice. And you said like you started like Forex in like 2007. Like, did
Mm-hmm.
someone specifically introduce you to like Forex in 2007, or you just stumbled across?
Yeah, my best friend. I got into investing in general because of my dad. He was always encouraging me to take kind of the next step of investing from, really, really young age, at a simple savings account to checking account to money markets and certificates of deposits. And, I had a good chunk of money after college just because I've worked my entire life and I don't really spend a lot of money on things. And he said, try out investing, put some in the market. That's kind of the next step. And I kind of met an investing mentor through my girlfriend, then now wife. She had a grandfather type figure who later I found out was this big time investor, real estate and in the financial markets. And he kind of brought me in just to vet me. You know, things were getting serious between me and his granddaughter. So he came in to kind of grill me and ask me the questions and make sure I was the right fit. And we found out a lot about each other. We found out we shared a lot of interests. We had a very similar mindset when it comes to kind of the entrepreneur spirit. And, you know, I basically, for that first summer, I sat in his office and I was just like a fly on the wall. I just took everything in and learned and learned and learned. As far as Forex specifically, my best friend introduced it to me. He was doing the investment thing as well. And he came to me, he said, hey man, what if I told you you can make more money in less time with a smaller account size? Would you be in? I said, yeah, man, of course. And that's when I started diving into it and making a switch from just the stock market to Forex specifically.
I see. And like, how do you handle like the questions like when people ask if Forex a scam? Because like many people think it's a scam because of the way it's presented on social media. We see a lot of like screenshots when they're demo or live. How do you handle it when people ask you if it's like a scam?
I tell them, you know, don't waste time on those people. I think the majority of people that you speak to are going to say the same thing. They're going to say Forex is a scam, investing is a scam, mainly because, you know, there is that idea out there. There's a lot of junk and garbage out there. I mean, if you watch any YouTube channel, you're going to see these ads before that make it seem like it's easy as possible to do. And you're going to hear a lot of people bragging about that too. If you follow social media, it's everyone's kind of highlight reel, and sometimes they give off the wrong perception of what trading is. So you just got to tell people or understand that, hey, most people that are saying that aren't educated. They don't actually know what trading is. They have this perception of it being one thing, but it's actually a different thing. So there are scammy people out there. There are scammy businesses out there, but there's a real side to trading too. And if you understand what it takes to be successful, if you understand the differences between the two, it's not as scary as what it may seem when you're worried about scams.
I agree. And for like YouTube, I noticed like you have like a decent following on YouTube. Like when did you start to take YouTube serious to build your following for like Forex and stuff?
I started getting serious about it when I started teaching. This had to be probably 2012, and just started, you know, and I'm not, you know, I don't want to say I'm a bad business person. I think I'm a good business person, but I don't do things in business the way by the book like you're supposed to. I kind of I like doing things my own way. It's always like stuff like YouTube and even education stuff and building your brand has always been secondary for me. There are things that I don't want to sacrifice who I am to be the ideal YouTuber or teacher or something like that. So I always try to keep it real with myself first and foremost. But I started just understanding a lot about YouTube, a lot about, you know, getting on a consistent schedule of when you upload. And at the end of the day, quality content rules over everything. So if you have good content and if you're honest with yourself, you're going to have a good brand. You're going to grow your following. It may not be the biggest following in the world, but it's going to be a following of good people. Something I would always tell people who are growing their YouTube channel or Twitter accounts or IG account or just, you know, brand in general is don't be too caught up over the numbers. I know it's a numbers game. You want to make sure you're building in the right direction. But it's better to have the right type of people supporting you than just the numbers. So I'd rather have 100 people that are diehards than, you know, 1,000 people that don't really care what I'm talking about, because those people are going to become your tribe. Those people are going to ride with you when it's time for you to ask them for something, whether it's, you know, voting for your channel for an award, whether it's just, you know, entering a contest. Those 100 people, they're going to spread a much more valuable message than the thousands of people that don't really follow you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, quality over quantity, yeah, we said. And like I noticed, like when I was doing like research, cause I'm doing a blog too. I mean, actually I'm doing a podcast right now, and I noticed that your like podcast was ranked like top 5 from like blog.feedspot rating for like 2020, which was pretty good. I know there's a lot of different like Forex blogs out there. I mean podcasts out there, and yours like up there. So what made you want to start your like podcast and like be consistent and all that?
I wanted to start the podcast because it was another avenue to reach people. So from two perspectives, from From a business standpoint, it's another way to promote what I do. Now, I often forget to kind of promote what I do there, but it's another way of promotion. So if you have your own podcast, there are things you can do to grow your list or promote certain events that are coming up. So I think it's helpful as a business perspective, especially since these days, I think the shift has gone more from YouTube, still very important. Visual is still very important, but I think audio is massive in the space as well, because we're kind of in a situation where people are always multitasking. So people are going on runs or going to the weight room or cutting their grass, and they can't necessarily pay attention to a video, but they can listen. So I want to have a presence in that space. I also want to give an opportunity for people that don't have the chance to really work with me on a daily basis, a chance for them to still learn. I have the luxury of going through a lot of ups and downs in my trading career. I also have the luxury of working with traders who are going through that process right now. So I have a lot of valuable conversations on a day-to-day basis, which are helpful for the traders that I work with. And I think they can be helpful for traders that I don't have the opportunity to work with as well. So, my goal is, obviously, I like to make money from my trading education business, but the goal is just to leave a lasting impact. I want to provide value. I want to help people who are trying to do the same thing that I did. So if I have the opportunity to spread a valuable message through a different medium, a podcast just works perfectly for that.
Yeah, I agree. Because like in trading, like there is ups and downs and different perspectives. So it's good to hear from like other traders, to hear what they've been through. And obviously this year is different in the market due to the coronavirus, how the market's moving. So it's like different perspectives and based off people's experiences.
Yes, it's a unique year. It's it's one for the grinders, man. It's tough.
See. And like, what type of trader would you consider yourself? Would you consider yourself like a swing trader or a scalper or both?
Swing trader mainly. I do some day trading a few hours a day, but I mainly do that because because of the education standpoint. So I started off as a swing trader, so I mainly operated on the 4-hour and the hourly charts. So stuff where I guess it's active trading, but it's not. I don't need to be glued to my computer for a million hours a day. And as I get older, as I get more experience, I find myself venturing more and more to the higher time frames. The reason I got into trading was obviously I want financial freedom, but it was also freedom of time. I wanted something where I can make money without actually, needing to be involved for a specific time duration per day. And as my kids get older, they have more activities. I want to spend more time with them. I find myself gravitating towards, 4-hour charts, daily charts to, really ultimately something where I can come in, I can check the charts once a day, spend about maybe 5-10 minutes doing some analysis. And then I don't need to watch anything until the end of the day. And that would be ideal for me, where I could still get the same benefit as trading, but without the time investment. And that's the ultimate, I think that's the ultimate goal of any business. And that's the goal of investing in the first place, is for your money to be able to make money without you investing a significant amount of time in actively needing to make it.
Yeah, I agree. Because you have many trades involved, from maybe being like a scalper, like getting quick money, to eventually thinking long term, like, okay, I want to make the money, but I want more time. So you learn to become a swing trader, practice the patience. And that's like a skill set that takes time to like develop patience in the market, despite the noise that can happen due to news events and market conditions. And for like pairs, I know you've been trading for a while, so do you have like a specific favorite pair you like to trade often?
Ooh, favorite. Whichever one's making me the most money at the time would be my favorite. I have a 9-pair portfolio that I focus on. So I have a set grouping of pairs that I look at every day. I look at others, but as far as what I'm allowed to trade, I can only trade the ones within that portfolio. If I had to pick a favorite, man, it does vary. I would say this, and it's not going to be a specific favorite, but I started gravitating outside of the dollar pairs more so. And I don't know if it's because of the times and that we live in now, but there's a lot, I guess the dollar pairs have been a lot more choppy. And I think it's because they're highly emotional right now to kind of everything that's happening in the world with coronavirus and the election. And it's just, there's a lot of indecision where there's not a lot of pure follow through on the moves.
Yeah.
A lot of the minor pairs that are not as traded as the others, there's a little bit more of natural movement on there, which has provided some better opportunities. So again, I don't really have a favorite. It's whatever's making me the money at the time. I guess I would call my favorite, but I'm starting to like a lot of the pairs that aren't dollar based. I guess right now, if I had to selfishly choose something, gold. I've been an investor in gold since 2016, so I'm very, very excited with what's happening lately. But that's more kind of an investment, not trading it actively.
I see. And like for like traders starting out, because many people hear different advice to focus on one pair, three pairs. What do you tell like new traders to do who trying to understand? 'Cause there's so much currency pairs or indices or commodities. Like, what would you tell like a new person how to start off? Like, what to focus on?
Good question. I would say start off simple. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. So when I first started trading, I traded like 20 pairs out the gate. And I was just so overwhelmed that I couldn't do. I was, new at analysis, so it took me a very long time to do analysis. I wasn't organized, so I forget what's going on over here, and I miss opportunities over here, and risk management was poor. So I would say certainly start lower. I used to tell traders this: start with one strategy on one pair on one time frame. I've kind of backed off that a little bit, but I certainly think one strategy is a must. Start with a single way of trading and just do it on an amount of pairs that you can handle. So maybe if you're an active day trader or a scalper, I would say no more than 4. I think after 4, that's when it gets kind of hard to handle everything with the speed. If you're a swing trader, trading the higher time frames, you can. I think it's easy to trade an 8-pair portfolio because there's not as much. The signal doesn't come as frequently. So I think it's kind of just start small, see how you handle it. If you feel like you're comfortable, then go ahead and start adding the next one until you get to that point where you become overwhelmed, and that's when you want to back it off.
I see. And right now, I know you've been training since like 2007. Do you still like have like mentors and stuff that you like conversate and like look up to in your forward journey?
Uh, yes and no. They've changed over the years. So my business mentor, the one that got me into investing, so he's passed a few years ago. He was like upper 90s, so we knew his time was coming. The mentors that I had for trading specifically, I still speak to them. We don't necessarily talk trading. We kind of just catch up on life. We talk business stuff. I've really found, I don't want to call mentorship, but I guess mentorship or at least community with the successful traders that I work with on a daily basis. And also, I've been fortunate enough to, I guess, gain respect enough in the industry where I can have conversations with some of my peers, some of the other traders that I looked up to that now consider me a peer. So you got people like, I look up to people like Peter Brandt, who I've had conversations with, or Mike Bellafiore, or Denise Scholl, and the guys over at Trade Society, who, I look at them as mentors because I think anyone that's preaching the right message in the industry as being a mentor. I know some may consider us peers, but that's kind of who I go to just to have conversations about trading in general, because I know that they're going to give me an honest answer, and I know their philosophy on things.
I see. And like right now, like what would you say like your strengths and weaknesses are in like trading?
Very, very disciplined. That's going to be my biggest strength. How it is, a sports background. We have no choice but to be disciplined. Coach tells you something, you got to do it, whether you like it or not. It's like you're doing it. So I think sports did me a major service and allowed me to be disciplined, trustworthy, on time, and even being able to make adjustments on the fly, kind of reading the situation and adjusting. So that's going to be my biggest strength, just discipline and mindset. My biggest weakness right now is I don't have as much time to work on my own trading as I used to. So I think I got good at trading because I was a workaholic. At some point, I was committing like 12 hours a day to learning how to trade. And that's always been my mentality in life, is just you grind at it, you work at it, you outwork everyone else until you get good. Now that things have changed and I'm in a position where I'm mentoring and coaching others, a lot of that time that I would use to kind of work on my own trading is divided between family, wife and 2 kids. That's one thing. And also divide it between putting out educational content, doing interviews, YouTube videos, stuff like that, training courses, and as well as helping traders on the platform. So going through emails, discussing, questions and helping other traders get over obstacles. So the time to continue to work on my own trading and really evolve as a trader has been cut drastically. So I don't think I'm improving as much as I would like to. And that's, that comes to the territory. So I'm not complaining about it, but that would be, I guess, one of the weaknesses if I had to name one.
See, because like in trading, like when first start out, you want to know how to trade. Then once you do know, then you start thinking about other avenues and different businesses.
Yep.
So like it's a lot comes into trading that expands over time. So I understand. And like for at least this year for 2020, like what are your like goals you would say for in trading?
Well, my goals, and I don't have any monetary goals for trading. I want to be consistent as far as, what I return for the year. My main goals in trading are always process based. I want to have, about 90% good trades. And what that means is that a bad trade is one where I make a mistake. So I enter what I'm not supposed to. I misread the market, and I'm lazy, or I miss an entry, something like that. Those count as bad trades. I want 90% of my trades to be good trades, regardless of the outcome. Now, obviously, I want the outcome to be kind of in my normal range, but the focus needs to be on the process. So that's the goal from a trading perspective. From a business perspective, is just continue to give back. I don't have a count on how many people I want to work with or whatnot, but I just want to continue to hear success stories. I want to continue to work with traders who develop the skill. Maybe they go on to work for a prop firm or something of that sort, or start their own business. And I just want to continue to hear stories from traders that I worked with saying, hey, Akil, I've been able to take the next step. I've been able to change my life. I've been able to quit my job or whatever it may be. And know that we had we played a small role in doing that.
That's good. So like what would you say motivates you to like keep going, to keep like doing your like podcast, your YouTube channel, videos? Like what motivates you to keep going?
Bigger picture, fear of failure. I understand that, and maybe it was me hearing a war story very early in my career of a lady that I think she built her account from like, 5,000 to like 100,000 and then gave it all back. Something like that always stuck with me, where it's like, and I think it happened over like 5 years. I'm like, shoot, like at any moment, this rug, if I get lazy, if I slack, this rug can be pulled from underneath me. I think it's the same thing with sports mentality, where it's like, hey, once I get on the field, there's always someone on the sideline that wants to take my spot. So the minute I slack, right, someone is working harder than me. Someone's out there trying to take my spot. And once that happens, I'm on the bench. So that fear of going back to the bench, I guess you can say, drives me to continue to outwork everyone. At least that's my plan, to never really let off the gas pedal, because the moment that I do is the moment I'm going to go backwards. So that's a fear of mine. That's a motivator of mine. Bigger picture is just, I'm very concerned about my legacy. Legacy becomes very important to me, and not only just providing a legacy, an actual physical legacy for my children to kind of take over, and a lot of that's with real estate investing for me. But how do I want to be remembered, or I want to be remembered when I die, and how do I want to be remembered when I die? And I want to be remembered in a positive light. I think of people maybe as friends of mine or whatever who passed, and it's like, you remember them for a week and then it's on with normal business. Ideally for me, when I go, I want whatever I left, I want to be able to positively affect people for years to come. So I want to be dead, and I want people to still listen to my podcast, watch my videos, and I want to be able to help from the grave in a sense. I know that sounds kind of morbid or whatnot, but I think a legacy in what we have is our name is that's important, because that kind of shows the true value of what we did during our time on this planet. And we never know when it's gonna go. So I want to work as hard as I can before that moment comes.
Yeah, I see. I agree. Because I see like a YouTube channel going into looking at it. Yeah, like a bunch of videos even for a couple of years ago. So you do have like a good long catalog of like videos, and
Thanks.
always consistent on your podcast. So it's like a lot of content. So to help a lot of people. So that's good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And for like trading, like I know like there's moments in the market, like when you trade, you might have like a scary trade. Like, can you explain like one scenario or experience you had where you traded that was like very like scary for you? Like a trade that you took that you were like scared to like take, but you took, or the outcome was scary, or
Yeah, it was actually the best trade of my career. Um, was the trade that I had the most doubt in. It was I was being taught at the time, and I had a mentor, and he was teaching me all the right things, stay disciplined, follow the rules, all that stuff. But I was at a point in my career where I just didn't care. I wasn't really worried about it. I was still kind of doing the dumb trader stuff.
yeah,
And I remember there was a trade. We were in a live trading room, and we had this trade signal, and it came up on like a Thursday. And it was a bigger trade. It was on New Zealand dollar, and I took it. And I didn't have a problem taking. I was good with taking trades. It was everything afterwards, which I was
yeah,
bad at. So I took this trade, and I remember it was like Friday. It was the day after. It was Friday. It was at like 50 pips, and I'm looking at it like, ooh, baby, like 50 pips. This is awesome. I'm about to cash out. But the target was like 200 pips away. Um, and I remember I was all ready to cash out, and it was the weekend. You know all the stuff we tell us. Well, you don't want to hold trades over the weekend. It might gap, it might this, it might that. And I
yeah,
remember our mentor telling us, like, you got to stay in it, stay disciplined, see the trade out. And that was the first time that I ever kind of really listened. And I kind of passed on my, I guess, temptation to cash out, and I stuck with it over the weekend. And that entire weekend, I'm tripping, man. I'm flipping out because I'm like, what's going to happen, man? Like a natural disaster. It's going to gap against me, close me out. And I was just so nervous that entire weekend. And I remember opening up my charts on that Sunday night, or I guess waking up that Monday morning after that Sunday night played out, and price had rolled up and hit my first targets for like the 200 pips. And this is when me and my buddy we were trading partners at the time. We lived in like a duplex. I was upstairs, he was downstairs. And I'm yelling, I'm going down, screaming on his door. Hey, dude, like, we got the trade, we got the win, we did it, we did it. And he comes out and he's just mad. I'm like, what's your problem, man? He's giving me the stone face. I'm like, we just got 200 pips on this win. Like, that's our biggest trade ever. And he's like, I cashed out Friday, man, for 50. And I'm like, oh, man. And it turns out we came back to the training environment the next day. And my mentor asked everybody, he said, hey, nice win for you guys that held on. But let me ask you a question. He said, how many of you guys cashed out? And it had to be like 70% of the people that took the trade, like, cashed out on Friday. And it was an example. He said, look, you were happy with that 50 pips. You just missed out on 200. And then the second part of that trade ended up going up another 400 pips, and like massive, 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 massive. This was the first time like I followed my rules. First time. And it hit me. It was like, dude, like, if I follow my rules more often, this could happen more often. And that was the game changer, the biggest game changer for me. But it was that whole weekend was horrible. It was just like, it was just, the unknown, and just sitting around pacing, just like, I just wanted Monday to come as soon as possible because I was just going crazy. So that was probably the scaredest I've ever been in the trade, because I felt like I could have, like, I had 50 pips for sure on Friday. I don't know what's going to happen. I could lose 100. I can gain 100. I was bad, man. It was bad.
that's cool. But yeah, like losses, because losses is common for like traders, because people think traders don't lose. So also losses could help. Losses could help. Well, could like make you want to like trade, change your like trading plan.
Mhm.
I know like some traders might get some losses, they're like, oh man, I need to change my plan because I'm losing, or some be like, nah, it's part of the process. So for you, how do you handle taking losses in the market? Do you have like a process or system that you develop?
Yeah, well, I look at trading as being a business, and losses are the part of doing business. They're expenses. Again, I've got a real estate business as well, and I went into real estate naive as heck anyway. So I'm like, you buy a property and people pay you money and to rent it out and all this fun stuff, and then I actually did it, and you got to realize that there's vacancies, like tenants tear up the properties, you got to gut it and redo stuff, like, and it costs money. And I'm like, okay, well, this is part of the business. Losses are the part of the trading business, right? There's no system that wins 100% of the time. You're going to take losses. You have to be okay with that and understand that they're going to happen. Now, I think you need to evaluate your losses. I think you need to make sure there are I call it a natural drawdown, meaning they're good losses and not losses where you're doing something to make yourself lose. I think that's a big difference. But you can't be too quick to kind of, switch systems, because what happens is that you can have a great, hold on, buddy. You can have a great system that's taking its natural losses and it's one step away from getting back to the wins. And all of a sudden, right, losses come, you bail on your system, right in time for those wins to come, then you miss those wins. And then the same thing's going to happen with whatever system you jump to anyway. So, you got to stick with it. You got to trust it.
Yeah, I tell people they had to get their mindset right, the right
Yeah.
like approach to the market, because it's all like mental, like holding trades and stuff. Because some people get caught up in the numbers and the drawdown numbers, so it may take them out of trade earlier than expected.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point.
And I had like one last question. So right now, like, where do you see yourself in the next like 5 years in like trading / life at this moment?
Oh man.
Loaded question.
Shoot. I don't know. I mean, I think business wise, I see our company being even bigger, tier one trading. I'll tell you what I would like to do, and I don't know if this is going to be within that 5-year span, but I would like to develop a way for traders to get to the next level. So I would like to either develop what we're doing into a prop firm or partner with a prop firm that we trust in order to give traders a clear path to, I guess, a job opportunity afterwards. And I say that because I work with a lot of traders, and there are some that are very successful in other avenues of life. They can drop 100,000 in the market right away and go full time because they've just, they're doctors, or maybe they own something and they've got it like that. But the majority of traders, they're not starting with, $1 million accounts. They're starting with a little bit of money that they saved, and they're getting good at a skill, but it's not life changing, meaning that they may have a $5,000 account, even a $10,000 account, and they're a really, really good trader, but you can't live off of a $10,000 account. It's just not going to happen. So I'd like to give a direct path where I can say, hey, we've taught you, you've done a great job at working on it. You've developed the skill. Now let's throw you right into a prop firm where we can get you hired. You can trade with someone else's money. You can get a cut right into a business opportunity instead of having those traders kind of go through the grind themselves. So the thing that's always held me back from starting a prop firm is I love teaching. If we have our own prop firm, that kind of puts us in a management type of state where, if someone's going to be trading our money, you better believe I'm keeping an eye on them every single day. I'm watching every trade they do. I'm making sure they don't mess up with my money, which is a full-time job in its own right. And I love teaching, so that takes away from that perspective. So we have reached out and talked about maybe partners with some firms that we know that do a good job of that already. But there's also a lot of legal mumble jumble, as you can imagine, that goes in with that. And part of that would really require us to redo all of the educational content that we have under the very specific legal guidelines, which I'm not a fan of doing, just because, it's a lot of this stuff was developed over years and years and years, and it's a massive overhaul to do it kind of all at once. So we'll see. I think the more traders we develop, the easier it is, because maybe it allows me to step out of my day-to-day teaching role and have other people come in and fill that spot. But right now I'm enjoying coaching. I don't, when I managed money, I didn't like it. And I'm not in a big rush to do something that I don't like. I like what I do, and just, I wouldn't want to do anything else for the rest of my days, honestly.
See, but I do agree with what you mentioned about like funding. I know like many traders like obviously over leverage account because they want to like make the thousands real quick, but when they take a loss, that one loss is going to eat a good percentage of the account real quick instead of risking the typical like 1 or 2%. So I know like funding is very important for traders, and having like firms that give out capital, if you're a good trader, helps out traders if they know how to trade. So I mean, that's a route that many traders should go. Get good at the skill and then try to get funding.
Yeah, I think if traders realize that once you get good at the skill, I mean, there's going to be many opportunities to. I mean, it's when I say people will throw money at you, it's not a lie. People will throw money at you, and once you've kind of proven yourself as a good trader.
Yeah, I agree. But thanks for hopping on this interview call this afternoon. It was great hearing about what you got going on and letting my followers know more about what you got going on.
No problem, man. Appreciate the opportunity. Definitely let me know when this thing is released so I can share it. I thought we had a really good conversation that's going to help a lot of traders. So I can't wait to get the word out about what you're doing.
Cool. I'll keep you posted.
Please do.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, man. You too. Have a good one.
Oh, man. Peace.
Peace.